second. Okay, so.
I received a text back from Josh and he said there's only like 7 members.
Okay.
So
With the 2 new ones we put on last month.
that's what he's saying.
I make a motion that we appoint or accept the membership of Mary Bikeman, Kathleen Sparks, and Gayton Cooper for the Fair Board.
Second.
And all in favor to accept these 3 for the Fair Board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay. Motion carries, so-
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Anything in old business? No? Okay, well, I think you're up. All right.
Hello,
Hello there.
How are you folks?
I'm Haley
Very good.
Marble.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. I'll get that in.
Hi.
I'm good. Randy Dick.
Haley. Nice to
Probably
meet
missed you last time.
Good morning.
Morning.
you.
Randy Dick. Good morning. Hey,
Scott?
Hey, how are you doing?
great.
I was sitting down, so I'll shake your hand.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you guys for your time. We don't have one for you, Leslie. I apologize.
It's a beautiful morning in St. Francis today.
That it is.
It sprinkled on us just
Yeah.
about this much between here and, where we stayed in
Oberlin.
Oberlin.
You're supposed to bring that up here.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
were trying. We were watching the news last night and they were saying this is like record breaking
Yeah.
and you're,
We're back from the eastern part of the state, little town Rossville. Any of you ever heard of Rossville? Maybe?
it's pretty close to Topeka.
I
Yeah.
was just over there yesterday.
Pardon?
We were over there yesterday.
Oh, were you really? Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're traveling interstate about 12 miles out of Topeka, there'll be an exit that goes across to us.
We went all the way through 36.
Oh, did you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, the book's a little, we're with Caw Valley Insurance, but it'll show the Big Katy companies. I've been out here for years. I've been doing county health insurance for close to 30 years now. So there's, from time to time through the years, I've stopped by and asked about your county health insurance. We're a family-owned business. My wife and I had started back then, and we have 3 adult children now that work with us, which is Haley is one of those. And so with that, they last year they talked us into making a decision. We merged with Bucati Companies, which is a large brokerage out of Kansas City. And so reason behind that, technology and some of the stuff that Bucati Companies could offer that was things that we couldn't. Bucati Companies is also the largest brokerage for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas. So it gives us some little perks there by being such a prominent carrier with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas as well. So we're just here this morning to ask permission to quote, and we really apologize. A lot of times we know, but Scott, we don't know what you're doing now currently. Are you?
For health insurance.
Okay.
We're through Freedom Claims.
Okay.
Okay,
and,
Julie Armour?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're very familiar with they're in their plans, and our plan actually kind of goes in conjunction with that. Is that plan working pretty good for you? Do you like it? Okay. So I assume you're using, she does switch around a little bit, but you're using Blue Cross then?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, we agree with that model for the most part. Because we are a brokerage, we do offer different plans. We offer self-funding. I know for many years you were self-funded with Corporate Plan Management and Tim Carson, if any of you were back those many days. Yeah, I know that one ended poorly. And we do self-funded plans as well. We have other TPAs that we use, but we do, Aetna United Healthcare, if you're ever interested in those, but we do model the Blue Cross Gap plan, and that's probably what you're doing currently. And we'll talk a little bit about, Julie's our biggest competitor out here, and so when we joined Bucati, one of the reasons for doing that is what type of things can we do to compete, and is there some advantages we can give that maybe offer a few little things that you're not getting with them, but with that same plan design that we could offer. And so,
What I see and what I would like to focus on is if there's a heart attack or some big event, we sometimes will ship to Denver
Okay.
or Nebraska because Kearney's a good cardiovascular facility.
Right.
Sometimes that is out of network because it's across the state lines, or if you do a heart monitor, that it doesn't get covered.
Okay.
My concern is we're so close to the state line. we need to make sure that we've got some sort of insurance for.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So.
We
that's-
could, we'll bring you that option as well. then. Closest county we've had Decatur for many, many years, and we, Decatur County.
They
And
probably send to Kearney quite a bit too.
Yeah, they do.
Well, it's in
Mhm.
Kearney.
I would think.
And it, even though they're a little farther that way, Denver's not, they use Denver quite extensively as well as too. So we'll bring you an option that would be outside of the Blue Cross network that includes those as a network. Because it is, we found all along this line in here, you just about have to have those because you are gonna have people seeking services there, along with those. I'll let Haley will just talk about some of the, we'll be brief, but just some of the things that we add on to our plans that'll be a little bit different than what you have currently. But yes, thank you.
keep that in
Is
mind.
there other input along those lines?
Anything else that could be different about your health insurance or?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Okay,
Would
yeah.
it be a two-card system?
The one he's talking about would not be. How's that work for you?
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes,
It's just,
it's like I went up to Fort Collins to a specialist and they're like, 2 cards, you
Huh.
know?
Yeah.
Once they get through it,
Right.
they're fine.
Sometimes they don't build a second card is what I hear from my patients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Haley's gonna touch on that briefly, one of the glitches with that, one of the things that we resolved from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What about, is air ambulance a concern for you? I know when we get out this way,
We have, mass though.
You
Oh,
do have
good,
Massa,
good.
okay, that's what I was gonna suggest, there's that plan now, and it covers all the different ones. It used to be one was just for Eagle Med or the other, and you know, at that point in time, you're not saying, hey, we gotta wait till Eagle Med gets here, we can't use this one, but that one covers all of them, so. But it does get to be a concern out here,
And I
because,
think Fahrenbrock is who we're with on that?
Yeah.
Atwood.
Atwood.
yeah, that's fine,
Good.
as long as you have Massa, I think that's great, so, go ahead and.
Yeah. So we'll just be very brief, but this is just mostly some of the perks we have that think can kind of differentiate us from what you currently have. And that first tab just kind of explains why we chose to partner with Bucati and then why we think they're a good decision with health insurance. And on that second page, it talks about, like he said, they're the biggest broker with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas other than just Blue Cross. So that allows us to have some perks. And you can see that there's also Aetna, Delta Dental is who we use for dental. They're a big partnership with a lot of those providers, so that allows us to have sometimes some premium decrease, sometimes things like that. We can use that large book of business they have to our advantage. And that next page is just going to talk about all the services they offer. And one that I really want to point out is the human resources, which is that second tab. And this is probably going to be mostly for your benefit, Scott. With their HR, that means that they have attorneys on staff, and we know that you have a county attorney, but this can help if, you just have a call, hey, I'm wondering about this filing, or I'm worried about our 1095s, or some compliance issue. They're on staff at all times, and that would be included with if you had health insurance with us. You can give them a call, and they'll answer questions. They're always there on staff and able to help you out with. And, there's all kinds of ACA reporting. There's lots of affordability things these days, so we're able to help you and make sure that you're compliant with all those kinds of things.
They're here to assist you. We deal with a lot of counties, they have county here, but there's probably things that, when it comes to insurance, I don't know that you.
Yeah.
we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm trying to say, but at the same
No,
time.
I mean, no,
you know,
no.
It's nice to have someone else.
It's like anything else, but
Oh, yeah.
even if it's an employee issue or whatever it is, something that, and you would be welcome to call because you're gonna speak to other attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no additional charge, but they have 3 on staff there, and so they'll give you a little direction. If it's any kind of a compliance or any human resource issue that you would like assistance with, they're there to help you. And we found that they respond very quickly. I thought, when we first joined them, I thought, well, that's nice, but 2 days later, no, they do respond very quickly, so. it's-
Especially if you pick up the phone, they can answer questions usually right away. In the third tab, I don't know if you guys, some people are interested in technology, online kind of things, other people are not, but the third tab talks about an online platform called Employee Navigator. And this is kind of just a sample that shows the enrollment that employees would go through. And then the second page actually shows the enrollment summary, and this is from a different group we have, that employees would get. And so they're going to sit down and go through every benefit that's offered, whether that's health insurance, dental, I don't know, life insurance, whatever you guys have. And so then they're gonna see everything that's offered to them, and they're either gonna accept that or decline. And so what we think is beneficial of this is they know everything that's being offered to them. As they go through, they're gonna see the amount that's coming out of their paycheck. So that can kind of help them make decisions. And then it's also going to have their dependents and what they're enrolled in. And so we think it's beneficial that they know what they're being offered and they know whether they've declined or not. And should clean up some things like for you, because you'll have access to all the documentation so you can keep track for, I don't know if you do
Health
payroll and
insurance
things
for
like
Cheyenne
that.
County is a benefit.
Yeah.
There's no out
Mhm.
of pocket.
That's excellent. That's great that
Do
you
you pay
guys do
100%?
that.
Is that what you're saying? Even for dependents?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wow.
excellent.
That's amazing.
I
that you
used to have
guys can
several
do that.
counties that did that, but over the years, you'd be one of just a handful now that do still. That's just
Good for you. That's
excellent.
excellent.
Yeah. We find Road and Bridge maybe sometimes doing their enrollment online. So if you still want to do paper, that's fine. We'll come out and do the paper enrollment, and then we'll load him into the system then. But from your perspective, Scott, anything that you wanted, would there be a report right there from that standpoint? If you ever needed anything, yeah, it's all there then. Everything has to be accurate. They can't leave off a social security number or date of birth because it won't let them, it's one of those systems that won't let you advance if you don't do that. But we'd assist them, but those folks that have access to a computer, it does make that much cleaner, smoother, and just not miss anything.
And the fourth tab again is kind of a techie thing. There's also an app, a benefit app that you can load your medical or any other insurance cards on there. It can help you to keep track of your deductible and things like that. Again, some people are really about apps and things like that. Other people aren't. So we just want to include that if that's something you guys would be interested in.
But your medical,
Yeah.
dental, vision will all be on there, so when you go,
Yeah.
you don't pull out cards, it's like anything else, you're gonna pull out your phone and there you go.
Come on,
Last,
Roger, get with the times.
We see that a lot when we go to counties. We're like, oh, an app is way too much for us. But
It'd
some
be
people,
about half and half.
yeah, exactly. Some
Roger,
people.
I'm still with you. I'm still with the paper form group, but I found that's,
Yeah.
I'm behind times.
Yes.
Last tab, prescription network,
Oh,
that
go.
that
I'm
might,
just gonna say I have one, but it's just to make people think I'm smart.
Exactly. There you go. You say, well, I have an app, but I don't know how to work it sometimes.
the prescription network, are you using prescription network now for your prescription carrier? Okay, and you probably had them way back when, keep bringing it back when you were self-funded, but at that time you probably had them as well, and you've had them. We use prescription network. Our model is a little bit different. Prescription network just went through a change where it's called their transparency model, but it actually shows you a lot of more of the cost things. Rebates now, we'll work on those, depends, if we use Blue Cross, so we have a hard time accessing rebates still, but if we can get at the rebates, they come back to you as the employer. And prescriptions is one of those things that will help you manage, but stay on top of that. It's just such a huge item anymore, especially with some of the specialties that are out. I don't know if you should, for that, under that deductible, you probably track your prescription costs for a ways anyhow, or maybe you see part of
It's a
it.
deductible, it's 25 for generic and 35, 45 for
Yeah.
name.
Until you reach your deductible with your Blue Cross carrier, then it's 100% probably. Your card only works till you
Yeah.
get, yeah.
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 Correct, yes.
But there are many specialties now that, if you got one fill of Humira, you would hit your out-of-pocket maximum with Blue Cross with one fill. But the others, we're not ever trying to limit employees' health care, but Trulicity, Ozempic, some of those other diabetic meds that have come on, very expensive again. And your employees don't know that. They show their card and they're paying their $30 copay. They don't know that maybe it just costs the plan $2,000, $5,000, whatever it may be. But it's just one of those things, each time we meet with you, and I didn't mention it, but we'll come out at least every quarter, especially the first year. We just like to give you an update on how the plan's going, and try to get feedback from you if there's anything about it. But prescriptions is just one we really pay attention to, and we need to do from that standpoint. Prescription Network now has the capability, if you're not, they'll give you an annual report. It'll show what your top 10 prescriptions are from a usage standpoint. It actually lists what those medications are, just so you have a handle and can kind of manage those things. I see, are you a physician?
A chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
So, but still, you're familiar with medications, and so. But yeah, it's just something that You need to stay on top of it anymore. It's a huge ticket item when it comes to healthcare costs. Used to be they were about a third of your cost if you've seen the summaries from the end of the year, but they can definitely exceed a third of your total cost or more. So,
Are you a chiropractor here in town?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Goodland.
Oh, okay.
how about networks for you? What do you,
Well, it works okay.
okay.
Yeah.
What would you prefer outside of Blue Cross? Aetna's worked pretty good for you, or?
You'd have to ask my wife on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Aetna network and the nationwide Aetna network get us really good coverage nationwide. When you talk about the Nebraskas and the Colorado stuff, when we look at that, we'll probably use that in this network, just so it's a level across the board. But, yep. So really, that's all we want. October 1st is when we can generally start getting information, so we'll gather the information and bring you some options. Do you, when you normally meet, are you every week or twice a month?
Twice a month, 15th, 30th. Well, the close,
Closest to the 15th and the
Oh,
last
okay.
day of,
Last working day?
last working day.
Okay. But, yeah, if you would give permission, we're not a consultant, so we're not charging you a fee to do that. We just, if we do business with you is how we get paid. We don't charge you a separate fee unless you want that. Some groups, I feel like, want to say, oh, we've got a consulting firm that does that for us. If you want that, we'll be happy to put it together that way. We generally, out in this part of the state, we generally just do business as it is, and if we do business, fine. If we don't, then that's okay too.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound all right then?
Appreciate it.
Put together stuff,
sounds
okay?
Sounds all right with you?
Yeah.
I think.
Scott will be in touch with you just to get an updated census, and Julie can provide some claim stuff under your umbrella as far as what that was and that kind of thing, what we need, so.
Yeah, I'll work on getting an app.
Roger, you don't have to. We'll be happy to get you some
Yeah,
cards, Roger.
yeah.
You can just present your card when you go.
I got a 7-year-old grandkid that can run my phone
Oh.
better than I
Yeah. Phone service was pretty good here, though, I have to
Yeah.
give you that. As we come across, we lose them,
Yeah.
it seemed like it was
am.
good.
We do have decent phones.
Yeah,
Service out here.
Yeah.
There's a few spots that are
Yeah.
dead, but
That's because you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, when you have a tech out there going, I don't even know how you get anything.
You're like, yeah, I don't. We know how that goes.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
thank you
coming out.
for your time.
Good stuff.
Yeah, have a great day. Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie, I don't want you to feel left out.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott.
Have a good one.
We appreciate it.
We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Break your- So you don't have to be in here, does he?
I can wait.
You know what, I think I might just go with you.
I'll use the bathroom quick. When you get out here.
let's follow Needham.
Is this still on, or did he shut it off?
Still.
Do you want to come out here?
Leslie, did you get my email
When did you send it?
Friday?
Like last Friday? Who knows? I've been in Overland Tribune all week.
Right, yeah, I knew you were all over the place.
This was such a bad week.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about it?
Sure. Yeah, that's not what I have in here.
Morning.
Break time, huh? Feels good.
Yep. How are you folks?
Good. How are you guys?
Nice of that plan that we did cover everything else.
Yesterday.
Like Carney and that.
There's all the insurance and everything and the other, but I enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, and where they, you might be surprising.
Our guys, I think, are finishing up plan.
One of those deals
Yeah, ours.
looked like a $2,500
Oh,
instead of $6,500. So we'll see.
I think I'll probably be maybe middle of next week.
I just wish I could get my supplemental pay.
Well, it was a nice rain. Yes. Couple inches.
I was gonna say, at least it'll bring it up, bake.
Last year I paid about $2,500. I went into
Good morning, how are you today?
Senate Jennings, which is anti-aging
Doing good.
stuff.
And,
And I got the flat bills, I was like, what the?
Rain and guys getting their drilling done hopefully today, so.
It's good. They all get together, I think, see the national anthem before the homecoming game. But they go out and they dress all of the kids and so they form a USA on the field and it's
Now, these guys want us to change to theirs, or are they part of what we already have?
They're wanting to give us a quote to see if we want to use
to the
them.
practice in the school stuff.
So, I mean, it's good to have options, so.
A lot of the time, though, if it's working, why fix it?
Go watch her say it and
Quote
watch
comes
back
in
and
real
picture
low
our
next few hours because the next year,
Yeah.
once they get you the,
Yeah.
So they all wear different clothes and you
So
is
we
red.
tell them,
The S is
can we
white.
lock this in?
She's in red. We're gonna look for this little.
there's a, well, we know this other one's gonna go up, what do you say, close to 20%.
It's.
One we have right now.
Since the other one was set up, it just went up a lot. So I remember we were paying like 1.4 million with the old company out of Topeka, and when it came in, it was like 450,000. That was, it was like, yeah. Hello, Don.
Hello.
We're still on? Okay, good. Hello, Don, how are you today?
Good, how are you guys?
Good, thanks.
All right, I got two things now, and then I'll be back in with the auditors when they come in. So I'm trying to clean up all these funds that are just kind of hanging out there. And there's the Spark Fund, which is fund number 160. It was set up in 2016 for a grant through the hospital and EMS. It was part of the heart and stroke thing. Anyways, there hasn't been any action since 2017. And I talked with Ryan Murray about it, and he said this has been closed. So there's money sitting in the account or in the fund. I talked to the auditors. They said that since it was an EMS grant, we should close the fund and write a check to the EMS auxiliary so that they can use it the way they need to use it. Because it's just excess grant funds that they can now use.
We could keep it, we don't have to send it back to,
We don't have to send it back. So EMS can keep it.
okay.
But right now, it's locked in this fund and not available for EMS to use. So
Okay.
I need a resolution to close out Fund 160 Spark.
And what's in that fund right now?
$1,917.74. So all the expenses that were incurred with this grant have already been paid and settled, and this is just excess hanging out there. So the resolution to close the fund and issue a check in that amount of $1,900 to the EMS auxiliary.
Need a motion or a resolution?
Motion. Yeah, sorry.
I move that we transfer $1,917.74 from the Sparks Fund to the auxiliary, the EMS auxiliary.
I second it.
Okay, it's first and second to transfer these funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
Perfect, thank you. I will get a check issued to them and let Ryan Murray know and get that closed out. And then my second, I read the resolution for the meals that we discussed, the per diem, and what was done doesn't, I guess I need some clarification, because this doesn't seem like what we passed the resolution for and discussed,
What happened is you have someone take off at 5 o'clock.
right?
Well, let's say 7 o'clock. They take off 7 o'clock, it's an overnight. Technically, they could ask for $60.
Right.
Because the way that it was proposed is that if you are traveling and have an overnight, then it's a $60 per day per diem.
Okay,
And so the way that it's set up now is it's $20 a meal
okay,
for those meals that would customarily take place during the time that you are traveling. So if you take off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
right,
And you have an overnight.
right,
Then you would get 20 for supper.
right,
And then if you're there the next day, you get 20, 20, 20,
right.
you know.
Part of the issue that all of the department heads had was that it was use it or lose it though. So if we didn't eat breakfast or if the hotel provided breakfast, we wouldn't have used our $20, but we can't then use it for supper.
We'll combine it.
Yeah,
No.
that's why we wanted the $60 per day.
No, it's not a use it or lose it.
But that doesn't say that in here, so that's how it was before.
No.
That's kind of the way I read it, it was like Leslie's talking.
Yeah.
It's just that
No,
one
it's-
day
it's-
when you're traveling,
Yes.
you have to.
Yeah, it's a per diem. That means that you have each of those. And it's like when I was working for the state,
Right,
okay? You know, you got that per diem for each of those meals, but if you decided not to eat, you still got it.
okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a per, like I keep saying, it's not a use it or lose it.
Okay.
It's a per diem.
because it was a use it or lose it previously, so
Yeah,
that's,
no,
I wanted
no.
clarification that was,
Right.
it's not a use it or lose it anymore.
So
Okay.
if you're traveling and there should have been 3 meals, then you get $60.
Okay, okay, I just,
Or 2, or, you know,
it was, and then this whole snack thing got thrown in, and I'm like, this is not what we talked about. So I just wanted to make sure that we were
yeah. No,
all
but
covered.
here's the
Perfect.
thing. I am a pessimist when it comes to stuff like this, and like I said, I could see someone saying,
Oh, yeah, no,
taking
I,
off at 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
And saying, oh, nay,
yeah,
this is an overnight, I want my
Right.
$60.
yeah, yeah. No, I get that
Yeah.
completely. I just wanted to make sure, because that was, the dollar amount going from 15 to 20 was important to the department heads, and then also having the flexibility of being able to bank it for the evening was the other. So I just want to make sure that, because I
It is not
didn't
to use
understand
it or
it,
lose
so,
it.
perfect. Awesome. So that's all I have for right now, and then I'll be, like I said, I'll be back with the auditors, so.
Today?
Today, yes, in just a little bit. So, did you guys have anything for me as far as the office?
I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will have warrants, personal property warrants going out next week. Official will go into the district court with case numbers and then sent down to you for that as well.
Okay.
So,
Or to Cody?
yeah, Cody and district court and to you.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Thanks, Dawn.
all right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Don.
I love when we get to come with good news.
So do we.
I apologize for drowning you in paper today, but I wanted to be able to go over everything. So we're really excited. Scott passed along that the State Historic Preservation Office went ahead and said we can do the improvements to the courtroom, that they approved the plaster repair, the painting, and the hanging of the acoustic panels, which is wonderful. One small win. So that's the letter that is on top. Just wanted you guys to have a copy of that. What we were hoping to accomplish today was to come in and say, hooray, we checked one box. We'd like to restart that process, if that's okay with you. So the next two things are a copy of the public notice. I did make the correction before. I had misinterpreted and had bids picked up and submitted to the district court, and those do need to go to Scott, so that's fixed. So we'd like to request that we go ahead and republish the bid notice so that we could accept bids for the courtroom. The next page is the request for bid. We had reviewed this, I believe, in May. Made just a couple of changes to it, made sure that we included that the contractor would be responsible for materials. I did put a bullet that said paint, color, and finish would be selected by you guys, I would assume, or someone in the courthouse. I think we had talked about just doing a neutral, comparable color to what's there, but wanted to make sure that we noted that. Went ahead and listed that sealed bids would be accepted at the October 31st meeting. I believe that met your guidelines, but wanted to clarify that with Leslie. I think it's at least 2 weeks or a month, I believe. The next thing in your packet is the bid from McClellan Sound. Those are the professionals that do the acoustic panels. A couple of things I wanted to point out. They do have 2 diagrams of their recommendations for the courtroom. You'll have to show me which way they go, because I'm not very... I talk about things, I don't design things. There we go. Judge Keller did want to point out that the 3 center panels would be decorative.
Yeah, these right here, and they go on the, I get my directions, this would be the west wall. So the back, as you're looking from the bench, the back is straight across. That's an idea.
So this was their recommendation for your best aesthetics as well as acoustic improvement. I did have one concern because my understanding is that you guys do, or the county requires a bid process for everything over, for what the $23,500 would include. So do we have to publish a bid if we know that these are the only people? Okay. So we would have to publish a second bid for this, recognizing that I don't think there's anybody else in the state that's going to do it. But if you need, I can go ahead and write a public notice for that as well. Jump through the hoop.
Where's this money coming from?
That's my next page. So we had talked about soliciting for some grant funding to pay for this project. I'm at a bit of a stalemate because I don't have a bid for what the paint and repair was going to cost. I think we had discussed that the last time it was bid, it was somewhere in the 30,000 range, I think, or 20 to 30,000 range.
Well, that was a sealed bid, so.
Okay. I was thinking like a number of years ago.
Oh.
I thought that was a
Yeah, I
number
have
that
that in
we
my
had.
stuff upstairs.
So I went ahead and plugged in a 25,000-ish, recognizing that it's probably going to be significantly
And that's
more.
for everything, the panels and...
No, the
paint?
panels are 23.5, and then we estimated the painting to be somewhere between 20 and 30. It would be really helpful to me as a grant writer to know what I'm writing for, and so we're kind of at I don't want to say a stalemate, but I did include in your packet 2 community fund, basically template applications. The way the 15th Judicial District would like to work is to say, I will help in any capacity I can to both apply for grants, manage any obligations you have during the duration of the grant, and then completing the final report. But we don't have a way to run that money. So we asked that because this is county specific, that Scott would run it through a county fund, whether you have a grant fund or general fund, however that would work for you. So my commitment to Scott would be to say, I will basically hand you a plug and chug template of everything you could do to actually apply for these grants. I included 2 local ones, as well as the Kansas Historical Society Heritage Trust Fund grant. I will gladly help if the county decides to go this route, but I would issue a strong caution. It is a very labor-intensive grant and is also a cash match reimbursement grant. So we had talked about that was not a way you desired to go. We could apply for up to 24,000, I believe, through this, but the Heritage Trust Fund grant through the Historical Society is typically reserved for properties that are in danger of falling down or in danger of being torn down. They really need to show an emergent need. I'm not sure we do that. While I think our project is important, nobody's coming to condemn it. So I will gladly help with this if you would like, but my recommendation would be we look in another couple of avenues. There is the option to apply for state rehabilitation tax credits. I just put in an info sheet. I'm sure you guys have worked with those before. Not something we'd have much part of, just wanted you to know was an option. My personal recommendation would be that we go two different routes. The USDA Rural Development has a community facilities grant that we could easily apply for $35,000 to $40,000, and I would be more than happy to walk with Scott to do that. The only part is I cannot apply for the System for Award Management, the SAM.gov website, because it does have to be run through the county. My assumption was that you probably already had an account, and so if you would be willing to partner with that, or with me on that, I will gladly write the grant. I just have to have you put it through that website. So I did supply 2 template letters of support. Not that you would have to use those, but if you would be interested, I would send you those electronically and ask for those letters of support. Judge Keller has also written one, and I'm happy to write one as well, just to help bump us along in this project. So we have some great options. I think we're a great candidate for the Rural Development Grant. We also, I'm happy to apply to the Hanson Foundation outside of the community grants that opens up some additional funding for us. I just feel like we can't say, yes, we have it paid for until I have a bid and I know how much I'm asking for. I apologize, I talk fast, but do you have any questions?
So we're waiting on a bid then?
I need your permission to republish the bid, or the bid process, so we can get a bid, if that's an appropriate way, and then I will get on applying for the Rural Development Grant as well as a Hanson grant with Scott, and then I'm hoping we can reconvene and say, yes, we actually received a bid, and yes, here's the funding we've done or received to move
I
forward.
didn't catch it. Is this a matching grant or
The Heritage Trust Fund grant is a cash match reimbursement grant, and that certainly is not my recommendation. The 2 community grants are fairly small. They'd be $10,000 just to use as a cash match. My goodness. The Hanson grants are an outright grant, as well as the Rural Development Community Facilities grant will pay up to 75%. But it is not a reimbursement grant. It's a cash flow grant.
So the 10,000 is a straight across grant without any kind of reimbursement or anything?
Correct.
And then the other is a cash match grant,
The
or 75% match grant?
We'll pay for 75% of your total project cost.
Okay.
You are able to leverage the 10,000 from your community grants against the project total and use that.
So that could possibly, if we get a bid in for 50 or whatever, or 60.
I anticipate
Take
being
care of
able
all
to
of
cover
that.
most all of it.
Okay.
So, and if not, we can go find, yes, sir. We can go find some more somewhere.
so right now you're needing a motion to
To put out
out
2 new bid notices, one for the painting and contract labor and one for the acoustic panels. And I guess permission to move forward with Scott to apply for some grants once we get bid in to use.
did we get anybody to apply last time for the painting?
Yeah,
you did.
Yes.
we had one sealed bid, but
Can you reuse it?
I
It's
think-
from like 6 months ago.
Just one?
No? Okay.
I think we only did 2 advertising in the
That's the
paper though.
minimum we have to do.
Okay.
Possibly, don't these people need to be authorized by the Historical Society?
So I followed up with them on that. Their list is simply a resource to assist. It is not a mandatory contractor list,
And-
which is very helpful because there's no one particularly close.
And these panels were gonna be glued on, right?
I believe they approved the Z clips
Yeah,
as
I
well.
thought you had talked before
Glued
about
to
clipping
the-
them on.
Glued, not
Okay,
screwed in.
and they said they can go either way. I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, we had talked before about having some type of a clip.
So we had to follow up with them about the Z clip or the glue, and if they had specified whether they wanted one or the other, I didn't know that, but
They did, yeah.
they did, they wanted them glued and not the clips. Okay, that's fine. We
But they
can pass
asked
that
how the
on.
clips were gonna be. And I said screwed, glued, and I believe they came back with glued
Okay,
to the wall.
that's fine, we can let McClellan know that. They were fine either way.
Well, I make a motion that we advertise for the panels and the painting and
Great.
I second it.
It's been, a motion been made to, I guess allow you permission to
Perfect.
do that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
I will get that you copied on that today. Great, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Henny.
Hello.
Mike, how are you?
Good, you guys? Show you where we're at on the budget. You want one, Scott?
like you're staying caught up.
Pretty decent. We've had a big bindweed run this fall, a lot of guys drilling wheat and stuff. Some more calls yesterday, so. Prairie dog season starts tomorrow, so I'll have to kind of balance that out next week, but I think we'll be okay. We were really caught up until it started raining there in July, and that kind of brought things back around, but it hasn't been terrible. We talked earlier about chemical, and Corteva is gonna go ahead and raise prices starting tomorrow. So I did get some bids. This is just their price range that they're going up to. And this one's just a letter saying they were gonna go 3 to 8% across the board on all their stuff. More for just reading pleasure, really.
You said
This-
3 to 8%?
Yes. And that first one was what they did go to on their projects. The biggest one for us is the Milestone. It's going from, I did get 2 bids back, one from Van East and one from Nutrien. And from these bids to what Milestone is going to is $45 a gallon higher starting tomorrow. And it's already at $2.70, so it's gonna be at $3.25.
How does that compare with Graceland?
I did some comparison. It is cheaper to use Grazon. You have to use a lot more of it, but it's still cheaper if you spike it with 2,4-D. But in some places you can't have 2,4-D where the water is, so you have to use Milestone. But I've also bid out some Duracore, and I'd like to try some. And it's got a Rinscore in it along with the aminopyrrolid. And I think a little different active ingredient would be beneficial to the thistle. We've been using Milestone forever.
So which one do you want to go with?
Well, Nutrien's a little over $1,400 cheaper, so I would suggest we go with them.
Plus they're in the county, right?
Correct. But we can get stuff at Bird City, but this all has to come from their rangeland program, but it's usually shipped in 2 or 3 days.
Does Devin have this on hand, or is he gonna?
No, it'll all have to be shipped in. We have to use a regional sales guy.
Okay.
And this should be enough to get us through next year, and with what little we have left, maybe even to start of 2024. But I have a feeling it's gonna keep going up.
You can't call and say we want 929 price.
No. They make you go through this. Last year I took the bids over to Nutrien and they sent them to the sales guy, so.
Seems like we ordered it today, we ought to get it.
This was good for 30 days on this bid, so if we approve it today, we'll get it for these prices. Not tomorrow's prices.
We'll get it for today's
Yes,
prices.
yep,
Okay.
we'll beat the
Beat the-
increase.
The October
So,
one.
Yep. Yep. That's why I went ahead and pushed it through with the salesman to get us in there. Just the milestone alone, that's
Yep.
$550, so.
So you need a motion from Nutrien for $11,572.11.
Yes.
I so move.
I second.
And first and second go with Nutrien for 11,572.11.
Some of this we gotta keep from freezing.
Yes, yep. When we get it here, I'll get it sorted into the landfill.
Aye.
Oh, they got,
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
so we do have a place out there to keep
Yes.
it.
Yep, we can put it on the shelves in the shop out there. And there's room for one pallet we can stack up and put back in the corner, so we'll be in good shape.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, go ahead and do that then.
All right, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Did you want to discuss anything else in executive? Or you good?
I'm okay if you
Okay.
guys are.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day, bud.
You too.
When does Grace's contract come up?
Was it the end of the year? November?
Is it a 1-year deal? Well, we went up there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of space there that's not being used, a lot. Just have some way
Dan, how are you?
better
Good, how are you?
doors. This would be a good place to do senior citizens. There wouldn't be any concrete out in front.
And
I think it'd be a good spot. There's electricity in there,
Randy hasn't came back with a bid price
but
yet.
I'm afraid them doors are gonna be dang expensive, but
Yep, I have no idea.
What can we help you with?
I need to see if you guys will allow me to spend up to $6,000 on bunker gear, just like we have every year. I've got quotes here, but one of them's almost 5, so. That's just for pants and coats,
How many does that bring?
2.
2? Well,
Yep, last year we've been splitting between Bird and Saint. Last year we gave it all to Bird. This year Saint's getting it.
and that's all in your budget over there, I take it?
Should be, yep.
And that's for 2 sets, Dan?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we allow the purchase of 2 sets of bunker gear not to exceed $6,000.
second,
And first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Is that okay?
Yep. Then the only other thing I got is I'd like to buy 2 fire helmets too. from Weiss, and it'd be the amount of $794.70 for two of them.
That's a different company.
But, yeah, possibly. I mean, I can get bunker gear through them, but we're probably not going that way this year.
I moved to buy 2 helmets at $1,449 and,
That'd be $794.70 for two.
oh,
Sorry.
$794.70.
I second it.
First and second to buy 2 helmets from Weiss, is it?
Yeah,
All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay.
that's all I got. You got stuff from me, that's all I got.
She had 1,400 on there.
I know that was for 4. Right?
Oh, that was the
Yeah.
Well, they don't confuse me.
That's hard.
Is there an app for that?
Thank you.
Yep. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Yep, have a good weekend, bud.
We're in a drought and we're gonna flood map.
My pond is lower than it's ever been. I bet it's 2 foot lower than I've ever seen.
Your what?
My pond. Didn't hurt the trout are just, I got so many trout in my pond. Holy crap. You go to feed them, it's just put way too many in.
Water must be pretty cold down there somewhere.
I've dug it pretty deep in a few spots.
I mean, trout have to have cold water.
Well, I was digging when the bottom of the excavator was in the water, and I was burying it to my knuckles. That's probably 24, 25 foot deep. But I always wear a life jacket when I